My name is Julia Buchanan Swart, and I am the founder of Art School Africa. And today we're going to be speaking about a topic that is often seen in quite a negative light, but is something that I think is really important to all industries, in particular the art industry, and that is networking. So often the word networking sounds like you're trying to build a group of individuals from who you can benefit. When in actual fact, my view is that you're building a community of like-minded individuals with whom you can grow together. The most important thing to ask yourself is, what can you bring to the table? So from our research, this is a topic that many people have shown interest in learning more about. And today I'm going to be touching on a few points. Firstly, where to start. Secondly, how to build and maintain relationships. Mentorship, and then I'm going to provide a few small tips that have been helpful to me. Where to start? I think a great starting point is to map out your profile. So what is your background? What are your interests? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And as I said, most importantly, what are you bringing to the table? After that, I think it's good to map out your ideal network. So be specific. What are their names? What do they do? What are their strengths? Focus on creating a diverse network of individuals with a multitude of talents and strengths. I think this really starts with your personal network, and this can range from childhood friends, school friends, classmates, ex-work colleagues from earlier jobs. I think this is where it becomes really important to focus on really thinking about who is your network, your personal network, and this seeing whether you are surrounded by like-minded individuals who are going to encourage you to become the best version of yourself. So I really like the quote, surround yourself with people who dream bigger than you, because if this is the case, you'll constantly be thinking, if they can do that, then I can do this. And I think that's a really, really great way to keep growing. So after that, I think make a list of people who you would really like to meet, who you don't necessarily know, and who you think you could develop a mutually beneficial relationship with. And I think with this, think big. It doesn't matter who the person is. At the end of the day, they're just people like me and you. So in building relationships, once you've kind of established these dream networks, it's time to map out how you come face to face with these people. This could be asking a friend of a friend for an introduction. It could be attending events, or it could simply be sending a cold email, which I've done many times. Once you've got the opportunity to meet them, it's really, really important to not go in thinking, what are you going to get from this person? You need to focus on building strong, meaningful relationships, because there's nothing worse than speaking to someone and you can feel that they're wanting something out of you. I think after that, find out what their interests are, get a feel for what they like, what do they enjoy, and build on that. So whether it's food or fashion or whatever, make an effort to show interest in this, because this is a really nice way to make people feel comfortable and to relate on a more personal level. It's important to keep a selfless mindset. So as I said, the more you give, the more you're going to get. And this is where the mapping of your profile becomes really important. What can you offer them? And it's important to think and create win-win situations going forward. And then lastly, I think stick to your promises. So on this first meeting, once you've established what you can bring to the table, it's important to stick to commitments that you've made or promises that you've made, whether that's saying you'll follow up and get in touch, or you can introduce them to this person, whatever it may be. Make sure that you stick to that commitment and respond to them as soon as possible, or follow up with them as soon as possible, because this way you build credibility, and the more credibility you can build, the stronger your relationship will be. After the initial meeting, it's crucial to follow up. So remind them again of who you are, what you do, what you spoke about. I think this is a really important step, because there's little point in kind of putting in all the work to meet this person and start the conversation and not keep it going. So the simple act of following up can really make the difference between keeping a relationship going and lasting, and never hearing from them again. Check in every now and then, whether it's a WhatsApp, a call, an email. Show interest in the person and keep that conversation going. Ask questions, be curious. I think this is one of the biggest forms of flattery, and we can never learn enough in life. So at the end of the day, people often like to talk about themselves. So I think make sure to ask questions, show interest in their lives, pick up on past conversations, and really listen to what they have to say. And then lastly, keep building that credibility. Be trustworthy, be consistent. People want to deal with people that they know and that they like and that they trust. Then to touch briefly on mentorship. So I think mentors are a crucial part of our networks, and it's a critical part of our careers. So when you're starting out, I think it's really, really helpful to have someone who has more experience than you, who can guide you in the early stages of your career. I've been really fortunate to have incredible mentors in my life, and I would never be where I am today without them. So before approaching mentors, it's important to think what your weaknesses are and why you've chosen this specific person to be your mentor. You need to go with a very clear goal of why you want them to be guiding you in your career. Once you've approached them, these are a few of the things that I think are really important to do. So firstly, you need to be the driving force. It's not up to them to follow up with you. You've approached them for help, and it's important that you are the one who is following up, who sticks to timelines, who is really driving this relationship. Secondly, listen. I think very often as creatives, we take things very personally. I'd like to encourage you to keep an open mind, be open to receiving feedback, but in the same light, finding a good balance between listening and taking advice, and becoming lost in someone else's vision. Then I think the fact or the showing that you're using their advice and putting it into practice is one of the best things that you could do with the mentor, because that really shows that you value their feedback and you really are taking what you're learning and putting it into practice. Focus on forming a powerful relationship which is mutually beneficial, and always be grateful for the help that you're receiving. You may have different mentors at different stages of your career. Keep them close, even if that stage of your career has passed. Lastly, one day when you're in a position to do so, make sure that you can offer this kind of mentorship to someone else. Because if we can all start to do that, we can foster an even stronger community. So just a few practical tips. Firstly, attend as many events as you can. In the art industry, that might be gallery openings, book launches, talks, etc., etc. Make sure that you are visible and that you're meeting people all the time, because you never know who you might come across. Then also be on top of your social platforms, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We now have global access to people, so it's important to use this as much as possible. And this can often be the most subtle thing, whether it's commenting on someone's picture, liking their picture. Your name constantly popping up can really make the world of difference. So don't underestimate those very small, useful and free tools. And then lastly, nurture your community. I think it's really important to be very kind to the people who are in your life, be willing to help others, and if we can all work together, then great things can happen.